Have you ever wondered why you keep falling short, even when you know you're capable of more? It's not because you lack talent. It's not because you don't have opportunities. The real reason runs deeper, hidden in the small decisions you make every single day. Failure rarely happens in one big dramatic moment. It builds quietly, choice by choice, until one day you realize you're far from where you wanted to be. It begins in the mind. The moment you settle for good enough instead of pushing for better, you've already started moving backward. Comfort feels safe, but it's dangerous. The brain loves what's easy. It rewards you with a burst of pleasure for choosing rest over work, distraction over discipline. That's why scrolling endlessly feels better than starting that project, why staying in bed feels easier than facing your goals. And while those choices feel harmless in the moment, they create a slow, silent drift away from the future you want. Another trap is comparison. You look at someone else's success and feel like you're already behind. Their achievements become a mirror reflecting everything you think you lack. But what you don't see are the years they spent building. You only see their highlight reel. This comparison doesn't inspire. It steals. It robs you of focus and blinds you to your own progress. You start chasing their path instead of walking your own, and in doing so, you lose both their race and yours. Then there are the habits you ignore because they seem too small to matter. Skipping one workout, putting off one important call, leaving one page unread. It doesn't seem like failure until it becomes a pattern. Every choice compounds. Discipline compounds into success. Neglect compounds into regret. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is built or broken one decision at a time. And then there's fear. Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of change. It whispers that staying where you are is safer. But the truth is, standing still is its own form of failure. Life moves forward whether you do or not. When you choose comfort over courage, you create the very outcome you were afraid of. You don't just fail. You prevent yourself from even trying. The truth is harsh. Most of the time, we don't fail because we can't. We fail because we stop. We let excuses take the driver's seat. We give in to the moment instead of fighting for the future. And then we call it fate, as if it wasn't our choice all along. But here's why you should keep listening. Because if failure is built in small steps, so is success. If daily choices can break you, they can also build you. And if you can face the truth about why you've fallen short, you can rise higher than you ever thought possible. This is not where your story ends, it's where it begins again. The moment you decide to stop accepting the excuses you tell yourself, everything changes. The habits, fears, and distractions that once felt impossible to control suddenly lose their power. You realize they were never chains, you were holding the key all along. Every day you wake up is a new opportunity to take back control, to shift the direction of your life with intention instead of drifting through it by accident. The smallest act of discipline becomes a declaration that you are no longer willing to live beneath your potential. The mind is your battlefield. It will always try to protect you from discomfort, but that comfort is a trap. The resistance you feel when you try to push forward is proof that growth is near. When you understand this, you stop avoiding the hard things and start seeking them out. You begin to associate discomfort with progress, and progress with freedom. The work you once dreaded becomes the path to the life you want, and every challenge becomes an invitation to become stronger than you were yesterday. When fear shows up, you learn to face it instead of running. Fear doesn't mean stop, it means go. It's the signal that what lies ahead matters to you. You can let fear close doors, or you can walk through them and discover that it was only an illusion standing in your way. Every time you choose courage over fear, you build a version of yourself that's unshakable. You prove to yourself that you are capable of far more than you imagined. The discipline you practice today becomes the freedom you experience tomorrow. Every choice to act instead of delay, to focus instead of distract, to persist instead of quit. These choices stack up. They shape the identity you live with. You no longer see yourself as someone who hopes for change. You see yourself as someone who creates it. And when you believe that about yourself, your actions follow with unstoppable momentum. Yes, you will still stumble. You will still face setbacks. But the difference is you will no longer see them as signs to stop. You will see them as proof you are on the right path, because only those who move forward encounter obstacles. You will embrace the struggle because you know it's carving out the strength, wisdom, and resilience you need to handle what you're working toward. You are not defined by your past failures. You are defined by what you choose to do now. Every moment is a turning point, and this one belongs to you. Decide that the patterns that held you back end here. Decide that your comfort zone is no longer your home. Decide that fear will no longer dictate your future. And when you make that decision with full commitment, the life you've been chasing stops feeling out of reach. It starts becoming your reality. The greatest shift happens when you stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it. Perfection is a trap that convinces you to delay action until everything feels ready. But readiness is born from action itself. The more you wait, the more life passes you by, and the opportunities that could have shaped your future slip away unnoticed. Progress belongs to those who move, even when the path is unclear, even when the conditions are far from ideal. You don't have to see the entire road. You just have to take the next step with conviction. Every step forward rewires your mind to believe in possibility. The person who once hesitated starts acting with certainty. The one who feared judgment now stands firm in their truth. Each decision to keep going, no matter how small, strengthens your identity as someone who follows through. And the stronger that identity becomes, the less space there is for excuses to survive. You stop asking whether you can, and start asking how you will. The energy you put into building yourself will always return to you. It might not happen overnight, but it compounds quietly beneath the surface until one day the results are undeniable. This is why the hardest days matter most, because they're the days that separate those who dream from those who achieve. When you choose to push through on the days you don't feel like it, you prove that your commitment is stronger than your mood. That is the foundation of lasting success. You begin to see that failure isn't the end, but a signal. It shows you where to adjust, where to grow, where to sharpen your skills. Instead of breaking you, it becomes the teacher that shapes you into someone unstoppable. The sting of failure fades, replaced by the pride of knowing you didn't let it win. Each time you rise after a setback, you carry forward not just experience, but unshakable belief in your resilience. And with that belief, you no longer live passively. You stop drifting and start directing. You align your habits, your mindset, and your energy toward a vision that truly matters to you. Distractions lose their appeal because you've tasted the satisfaction of real progress. Fear loses its grip because you've faced it and walked through it. Doubt shrinks because action has proven it wrong. This is where the shift becomes permanent. You no longer see success as a distant hope. You see it as the natural outcome of your choices. You understand that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is crossed by consistent, intentional action. And now, you have everything you need to take that action. The waiting ends here. The hesitation ends here. The life you want is built in this moment, and it's built by you. Nothing more, nothing less. And if you start now, you'll never have to wonder what if again. The power you need to transform your life is already within you. But it stays dormant until you choose to awaken it. Change does not come from waiting for someone to inspire you or for circumstances to become easier. It comes from the moment you take full responsibility for everything: your actions, your results, your future. Responsibility is not a burden, it is liberation. It gives you the power to stop blaming and start building. The second you decide that nothing and no one else will determine your destiny, you reclaim control over your life. Your potential is not a gift that appears only in rare moments. It is built daily through discipline, focus, and courage. Every time you choose to work when you could rest, to push when you could stop, to speak when you could stay silent, you are sculpting yourself into the person you need to become. These small acts, repeated relentlessly, turn ordinary days into extraordinary progress. And when you understand this, you stop underestimating the power of today. You realize that greatness is not created in grand gestures. It's forged in consistent action when no one is watching. There will be days when your mind whispers that it's pointless, that nothing is changing, that your effort isn't worth it. That voice is the barrier you must break. It is the test that separates those who almost change from those who truly do. When you hear it, remember that growth is invisible until it becomes undeniable. Seeds grow in silence before they break the surface. Your progress is the same, hidden until one day it bursts into results so clear you wonder how you ever doubted. Discomfort will follow you every time you choose a new path. But the pain of discipline is light compared to the weight of regret. Regret traps you in the memory of chances not taken, in the shadow of the person you could have been. Discipline frees you. It builds a life where you look back and see choices that made you proud, even if they were hard in the moment. You must understand that every second you waste in hesitation is a second you could have invested in building. Waiting for motivation is a mistake. Action is the spark that creates it. The more you act, the more momentum you generate. And with momentum, the impossible starts to feel inevitable. Right now, you are standing at a threshold. One path will lead you back into the patterns you've already lived, filled with comfort, distraction, and quiet disappointment. The other will demand more of you, more focus, more courage, more commitment, but it will give you everything you've been searching for. The choice is in your hands, and it always has been. If you take the step now without delay, you will prove to yourself that you were never truly failing. You are only preparing for the moment you finally decide to rise.